discussing about the Romanian market and the whole European market. How was this year after so many years when demand increased and you could not deliver so many trucks as the demand was? How was it this year for you as a manufacturer? And also, if you can say a little bit about the Romanian market in particular compared to other markets.
Yeah.
Mr. Sitte, you start?
Yeah, sure. I think it was a very interesting market indeed this year, as you said, because basically we have been having a lot of orders in the whole industry from the last 2-3 years where the manufacturers couldn't supply as many vehicles as people would have wanted. So we started into the year with quite a lot. Supplies normalized again, and then as could have been expected, also customers normalized again in their behavior and didn't try to hamster to take it to extreme vehicles. So over the year we have seen a declining market in Europe in registrations, but then you have also to see that a lot of vehicles were already in the market also from the second half of the year. So it was a little bit of a reorganization in the market, as I would say also for our customers coming back to a normal business environment, where, for example, many of our customers also struggled, that they had a hard time to follow up on the cost developments that they faced with the price developments that they could enforce themselves. But that has led them this year to a pretty cautious behavior than in buying new vehicles. But that didn't go the same for the whole of Europe. What I see is in Western Europe we have seen a rather stable market development, same like in Romania. The market didn't drop so much in Romania. In the northeast of Europe, there was partly quite significant drops in the market. It also depends on how reliant you are on international transport business and how cross-country you drive. I think that the big players who go across many countries often had a difficult time to maintain their pace this year.
Actually, we also had quite a strong domestic market, and that helped us also to survive. And moreover, we have not such huge fleets. We have medium-sized fleets, and that is easier to consolidate the business and also to look for other customers.
Yes.
One additional aspect in Europe is, obviously the German market is a very important market within Europe, and the German market is really slow. And I think that the overall registration data that we're looking at give us a little bit of a misleading picture, because we also had quite a bit of carryover of unregistered vehicles that were delivered in 23 and then one after the other registered in 24. So I believe that the market data is a little bit misleading in this case, because what we see as a demand, when you look at order intakes, and you can look across the board of all the OEMs who have reported this now also for the third quarter, they're really on a downtrend compared to 23. There's no doubt about that. Go ahead.
And seeing that the bodybuilders already have seen also that the demand is going down, they have not increased their capacities. So some customers with bodies on top are waiting now still for the vehicle that they've ordered 1.5 years ago or something, because still the lead time with bodybuilders is still very long. So we are still basically digesting in the whole system vehicles that have been ordered quite a time ago in a different market environment.
And in general, I would say that the markets which we serve outside of Europe, we're active in 127 markets worldwide, they have been much more stable this year than Europe.
So all the influence, the turbulences that has Europe with the war and also with the economy, especially in Germany, the influence have a big impact on the whole transport.
Absolutely, and I think it's this uncertainty that Roman was also alluding to that prevents a lot of our customers to make firm decisions. And now that we are basically losing our government in Germany, I think it will put even another hold on everything until the election is coming up at the end of February now next year.
We are looking, all of us, because the economy is also relying on the decision in the Brussels. We are looking at the new policy that the European Commission will make regarding CO2 emissions. We have next year the first deadline for the vector emissions.
Yes.
And the truck manufacturers are more or less relaxed with this, but we are looking in 2030, and then we don't know what's going to come. What do you expect for next year or even starting at the end of this year to start debating regarding the CO2 emissions?
Well, at this point, I do not expect any changes to what has been already decided on EU level, because just in the hearings this past week and with the new head for the transport sector in Europe, the new commissioner, he made it very clear that he has no intentions to change any of the regulations that are in place, which means for us, okay, relatively speaking, in 2030, what we put out on the road needs to be 45% less CO2 emission than what we do based on the base year 2019. So from our planning, nothing has changed.
But is it viable with the current conditions, with infrastructure and the subsidy, the program that is in Europe?
I think it will be a tough fight. It just depends on how quickly, the markets and customers adapt to this transformation. We know how many trucks we most likely have to register between the mid of 25 and the mid of 26, and that's what we're basically pacing against. We have the capacity for sure built up to doing that, and now we need to make sure that the markets start to develop this momentum. I mean, we have good momentum. We're at the very beginning of this transformation, but now, like events we had here today with our partner MHS in Romania, should now start to spur even more momentum across Europe. And again, we did something similar yesterday in Austria, and so we're basically really on the rollout of this new technology across Europe.
And I have talked about it earlier. I think it's super important for our customers to learn about that early. And we have embarked on that journey, and we will not stop that journey. So the only question is, how quick will it go? And the sooner you can learn about it and build up the capabilities in order to be flexible to adjust to the market environment, the stronger it will make your company. So I think for me, it's not so much a question, are they putting the targets a little bit higher, a little bit lower? In the end, we will follow the same journey, and the ones who learn and are quick in the journey will be the ones who succeed.
Yeah, but as you know, it's the problem of the TCO, and the customers should make money with the trucks. We have also in Romania some pioneers that risk a lot and bought the e-trucks, of course, with no subsidies. They know already how to work with this, but still there are people that are not having the courage to take this step because customers are not prepared to pay the price for the moment. And then what can you recommend to the transport company? We have a lot of people that dare to do the business at this level, at the higher level, but the customers are not ready to pay. How they should do to start?
I think first of all, let's start with ourselves. And, we obviously also have a significant supply chain into our factories for both buses and trucks. And we are right now looking where and how can we go into the lead and electrify transport into our own facilities. So we're in the middle of analyzing this. And then from there, with our partner E.ON, I was talking about them, who are supporting us in electrifying, in quotation marks, our service network in Germany, first of all. They're also willing to put in charging points when we have identified the right routes to make sure that those routes can be then served with BEV electric vehicles. I also do believe, and that is again one of those challenges where we also have to even further train our salespeople, that they need to go through similar exercises with their customers to look at routes, which routes could even theoretically be electrified. Now let's do the calculation. If you keep running it on diesel, this is the equation. If you now start to run it on BEV, that's the equation. Now, if the assumed price for electrical energy is too high, what can we do to get that price lower? Do we have to find a different charging point? Do you potentially have to invest into photovoltaic on your properties in order to generate more electrical energy yourself for much less than what you have to pay at a public charging point? How can we team you up with Milans, our joint venture with Volvo, Daimler Trucks and Traton? because those customers get a preferred rate utilizing those charging points. I think there are lots of ways, but again, it's a somewhat detailed analysis that we have to go through one customer at a time.
Do you think it's going to happen soon, this, let's say, also your mass production and also the customers' utilization?
The ramp up will be, I mean, obviously be careful. It will be a kind of a step process, but I clearly expect that by the end of 2025, we will be at significant volumes from a capacity point of view to serve enough demand in the marketplace.
Until then, how much do you rely on your new product now that you launched in IAA Hanover, the Power Lion? And how do you think this will change? What impact it's going to have in your sales for the next year?
I think we have shown over the years that we are continuously introducing, next to the latest e-truck models that we have introduced, also a continuation of new diesel models that will make it more efficient, more reliable, safer, with all the benefits to the driver, driver safety that is very close to our heart, and that we continue to do. And the D30 power line that we are introducing next second half of next year in Romania is another good step in that direction, but we are seeing it as a continuous following in that development path, and it will bring us for sure, again, a lot of discussion with our customers, positive feedback. We already get very nice feedbacks on first test drives with them. But it's not different 2 years we had before. We have launched our new truck model in 2020 now with a completely new cab. Then we had 3 different model years since then already. And we are continuing that path in order to make sure that in both the electric and the diesel vehicles, we serve the full portfolio and with the best consumption, the best power of the vehicle that our customers need.
Yeah, but now the fuel efficiency is the highest possible for a diesel truck. And I think this is important for the fleet owners especially.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the latest and best fuel consumption that you can get. I wouldn't say it's the end of the story. We have reduced 19% fuel consumption over the last 5 years, and I'm sure that we will go further steps also in the future.
Also, if you look also at the equipment that the trucks have nowadays, I saw at the other manufacturers as well, everybody's putting a lot of equipment that reduce fuel consumption. Aerodynamics features, all kinds of software for as you also did with the power line. Do you think this will be offered also in the standard equipment in the future? Because it's both things that you can reach with this. One is the fuel efficiency for the customers, and second one is the emission level that decrease.
That depends, because in the end, it's all about the customer. It needs to fit to the customer application. Let me give you a few examples. If you're running a standard tractor, it will be that we incorporate an aero package, for example, into the standard offering that we're having. However, if you're running a tank silo operation and you integrate the aero package, in reality, it will make your fuel consumption worse. So from a CO2 perspective, this could help to achieve CO2 targets, but in reality, it makes the operation worse for the customer, and for sure, we will not do that. So we really go by individual customer groups and vehicle applications. Or another dimension is, for example, the OptiView, the mirrorless rear mirror with displays inside. Again, there it makes a difference where you operate the vehicle. If you have to go into Africa, and one of your mirrors breaks and you will not find a replacement, then you have a big problem. So for those customers, it will not make any sense to go for a mirrorless camera system. On the other hand, for some customers who say, I really want to get everything out of the fuel consumption that I can get because I'm running a high mileage, it will make a lot of sense to integrate it. So I think it's all about understanding really the individual customer application and how we can serve that best. So yes, partly it will be standard, partly it will not be standard. In the end, we try to figure out the right configuration for the customer.
If we look at the standard configuration, in what class in the CO2 ranking for the toll collect do you have your new product ranking at the moment?
You know that this depends always on the specification of the vehicle also. We can go up to class 3, but not all vehicles will be in class 3, depending on what specification you are willing to order.
You can also specify also the tires, so you're not
yes,
putting everything just to be in one of the highest classes.
We keep the customers the choice, because there are also
Flexibility.
customers who don't have the 120 to 150,000 kilometers a year, and they may have other priorities in their ordering and specification of the vehicles, and so we will adjust to that, while at the same time we obviously have to do for ourselves the calculation on CO2 in order to be in the range that we don't get penalized for not meeting CO2 requirements.
Understand. Another topic that is also quite frequent discussed at the moment is that, and we have to prepare for, besides the decarbonization, is also the Chinese competition on the truck market, which is not at the moment is not really visible in Europe, but we could see it in the bus market, in the cars as well. How do you prepare? And if you think if it's there is still time for the politicians in Brussels to prevent the possibilities of unloyal competition on the European market?
As I said earlier today, I've spent significant time of my career in the US, and so I'm contrary to what may happen there now, but I'm a big believer of free market, and I do not believe that it makes a lot of sense to regulate yourself into an advantageous position, although we all know that probably the Chinese are not necessarily playing on the same playing field as we do. On the other hand, first of all, we have respect for every competitor in the market, and quite frankly, every competitor in the market makes us better as well, because we have to think about how we deal with this competition. Now, specifically to the Chinese, you said it right, we don't see and feel it yet in trucks in Europe. However, we do feel it in trucks already in other parts of the world, like Africa or Central America or South America. And we for sure feel it in city buses, and you also refer to that. I clearly do believe that technological know-how will step by step catch up to us, and in some regards we can even claim that they may be a step ahead in some cases in China at this point with some of the battery technology that they're going to apply there sooner than we may see it here in Europe. However, let's never forget, the decision for the product is only one piece of the equation for our customers. It's really about uptime and about reliability of the product, and I think that's where the real strength still is for the European manufacturers, not just MAN, but also MAN. And that is something we have to even build further and need to make sure that our customers get the highest degree of uptime out of the vehicle choice that they make with MAN. And that is a joint task that we have.
You speak about services now, I would ask you, because for the new generation of trucks, you have to develop a lot of other new services, and maybe some of the current one will not be so important in the future. How do you see and how do you make your strategy for the services to become an important part of the profitability of the company?
Yeah, I think not only for us but also for the customer, having a close eye on the operation of the e-truck in the future will be more important than today, because the customer will also spend more money on the new vehicle, and it needs to run as long and as fast and as often as the vehicle can. So a close operation is key. And for example, one thing that we are investing a lot of time and energy is into a battery management system that allows the operator and the manufacturer at the same time to make sure we utilize the battery in the best way in the vehicle while the vehicle is in operation. And this will lead to you are having a battery state of the battery after a few years. Ideally after 6-8 years is how long you operate the e-truck, in the best case to get the best value out of the vehicle. And obviously then how well your battery is being maintained makes a big difference to the value of your vehicle and the routes you can operate at the time. So I think this will be a very close cooperation where new fields also for the manufacturer will open up, where we are still needed also for older vehicles, where typically on a tractor today, customers might then go after 5-6 years different ways and not go to the original workshop anymore. I think this will change in the future. That's an opportunity for us. And at the same time, for our customers, it will be super important to be accompanied by us also to the reasons that I've mentioned.
The battery lifetime is also is a reason that the companies are not hurrying at the moment to buy e-trucks. They want to be sure that they can rely on the batteries today, because it's a big cost, and this could change quite a lot the TCO in the future.
Yep.
And could we face a delay in the ramp up, as you mentioned before, for buying e-trucks because of this fear of the people to test and to rely on the batteries?
Honestly, I don't think that battery life will be the decisive point here, because we see with our city bus experience and learning curve that the batteries have a longer lifespan than what we anticipated originally. And so I feel very confident that normally for the first user cycle, that is not a topic that requires any concern from their end.
Interesting.
One more point here is, but let's not forget, what makes up the lifespan of the battery. And that has to do with your charging patterns. And that is something, again, where we have to work with our customers, because if you keep charging your battery with full power, and at some point we will see the 1 megawatt charging, and you always ramp it up to 100% in a very short period of time, that will endanger your state of health of your battery. That is true, and that is something where we have to work with the customers, and that's where this battery management system comes into play, where you basically turn off the charging process, for example, at 80%, or you take out the power out of the charging solution that you're utilizing in order to secure the lifespan of the battery.
So what you want to add something?
Fine.
I was thinking about that the people that want to buy now the e-trucks, they are interested to use it as much as possible. So if it's possible 24 hours a day, because they are so expensive that they have to pay back, they have to use it.
You know, we have customers who will take some of our exclusive early fleet vehicles, and they have already created a route of 800 kilometers a day on German autobahns, because they say with the reduction in tolls, or Maut as we call it in Germany, this will pay off in an extremely quick way for us.
How do you look at the efficiency generally? Because when we talk about decarbonization, a lot of key players in the industry say that if we plan better the transport activities, or if we can do more mileage a day, if we can use longer vehicles, we can be much more efficient, and then we can pollute much less than only using battery electric trucks. What do you think about it, and why do you think it's not taken into consideration quite seriously, this efficiency?
Yes, it's correct. You can always reduce CO2 by getting more efficient in your overall processes. We got the task to come up with a technological solution. We have done that as an industry. So we cannot, because that's not our area of expertise, work on the efficiency of the overall transport logistic processes. But I also do believe, just driving over the roads, you still see a lot of trucks not fully loaded or even empty going from one job to the next. I think there are for sure additional efficiencies that can be lifted. In regards to longer haul vehicles in terms of length, yes, there are also tests being done. You know, I'm also in Sweden on a regular basis, and there you see these kind of quasi-drive trains much more on roads as you do in Central Europe. I think there's still the danger of, you know, how do we train the driver? Because I think that the risk for accidents will go up for serious accidents, because you're not only dealing with a 40-ton, you're dealing then with a 60-ton vehicle. That for sure will have an impact. But I also do believe it's not just about the technological solution, it's about efficiencies in the process as well. Absolutely agreed. And then you can also argue, you know, for existing vehicles, you know, how can we get them more and more out of diesel? How can we get them more into modern diesel technology? We still have a lot of Euro 3 and Euro 2 vehicles on European roads. You know, if we were to replace them, even with used Euro 6, we would already gain a lot of CO2 benefits that way. If we were to utilize more HVO or e-fuels on existing vehicles, we can already better the CO2 emissions. So there are additional solutions that we should utilize in order to get closer to what we want to accomplish.
Anyhow, we talked about a very smart industry in the future, because if we look at the decarbonization, we need to make much smarter all the processes in the transport. And in this respect, you can also have some input, because you also deliver some telematics system and other software system as well, besides the battery management system.
I believe that also the transporters will change their way of doing business. Let's make one example. You have today a route that is 800 kilometers, you take it with a diesel truck in one go. If you find out tomorrow I can do it cheaper, if I take 2 electric trucks that just meet in the middle, load and go back, and I can do this at a cheaper rate, the business will change quickly. And yes, it would mean for the transport operator to change because he needs a hub in the middle then, but if he can run that on a higher number of vehicles and it will be cheaper for him to do it, they will change. I'm sure about it. We know our clients to be very flexible and they will adapt to that.
Two questions. One regarding 2025. What do you think is going to happen on this market? Do you think that the production will start rising again and then we'll have more demand for the trucks and for the transport as well? And also about some remarks about the dealer that you have in Romania, and you have it established for a lot of years in Romania, that normally you work with a lot of your own offices and subsidiaries in Europe. But in Romania, you have it for a long time, these dealers that I think it performs quite well. And some years ago, it was the dealer of the year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, 2025.
I'll take the 25 question, you do the Romanian one.
Yeah.
We are in the middle of our budget planning process at this point, and we have lots of discussions on what to expect from the market. We talk to customers, we talk to suppliers in order to get a feel on what is out there. There's for sure still a high level of uncertainty, so I would expect that the relatively, call it under average market that we see right now will continue into 25 for now. But then we clearly expect, also due to the need for replacement within existing fleets, that this industry and then market volume will pick up throughout the year. And then in the second half of the year, we expect an above average market performance overall. And still, we as MAN, we still see, even independent on whatever the market does, we still see opportunities for us to increase penetration within Europe.
What about MHS trucks?
MHS, we don't have that strategy that we say we either want to do it ourselves or we do it with partners. We believe that a well-balanced system of own operation and partners is the best combination that you can have. I personally have worked a lot with private dealerships and private importers, and I think it can be very helpful because they also sometimes help us to be quicker as a large organization, while at the same time we need to learn and understand and have a direct contact with our customers also through own operation. So I like that mix of own and private operation. That is also a competition to itself again, to see who can do it better and getting ideas from each other. And that's why I'm pretty sure that we will continue with the good cooperation that we are having with MHS. We are happy to have it like it is, and we are not intending to change any on that.
Of course, I didn't ask that.
When you have a professional partner, they're doing a great job and they're willing to invest and they have the financial means to doing so, it's a great setup for both sides.
I meant the question was if you're happy with their performance here in Romania, this year in particular, because it was a difficult year for all the organization, I think, in the whole Europe.
Yep.
But how was it in Romania compared to other countries?
I think we still had a decent year. We didn't have a wonderful year, but we had a decent year. I think we can be pretty proud to be at the forefront of the chassis vehicles, which we are also well known for, and people really appreciate our chassis vehicles in the heavy and the light medium range as well. Also on the municipalities, where you said you have a strong local market in Romania, also we have done well. There has been some quite intense price and stock discussion in Romania as well, especially on the tractor side, that we didn't intend to engage in too much. I think we will be a little bit stronger there again next year, but in the end we didn't feel the need to be. We have a very good product lineup. We have a strong story we can provide with MHS. Is a very good service support and a very good partnership. And we are looking for those longer-term partnerships to develop that with our customers together. So we didn't intend to be just price aggressive for a short run because we have a lot of stock. This is not the way how we operate.